Dan, thank you for coming on the show again.
Thanks, Jacob. I'm thrilled to be back on TvAbraham.
So Donald Trump, a few weeks ago, people were saying that he had peaked. We had reached peak Trump. Now, the president appears to have recaptured the political narrative with his audacious raid on Venezuela, where he captured and apprehended the local despot, Nicolas Maduro, who is now sitting in a Brooklyn jail cell together with his wife, along with Sean P. Diddy Combs, the rapper. Perhaps they can dance together.
Maybe they can dance. They can do Instagram videos together.
So tell me your assessment of the Venezuela expedition, which initially extremely successful, but the doubters are saying, well, it could turn into an imbroglio.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Jacob. So I wrote a piece for the National Interest. I really appreciate you posting it. I love working with the Jerusalem Strategic Tribune, and I love working with the National Interest. These are really fine publications, and I do all of my publishing now between the two of them because they're so excellent. But what I'll say is that there's a ton of superlatives to say about this raid, and I'm not a military or intelligence expert, but I think anybody who's around the business will tell you that this was a textbook, flawless raid. I mean, it's out of a television movie or it's out of a Hollywood thriller. The intelligence was impeccable. The military operation was unbelievable. They clearly practiced for a long period of time. Many of your viewers will have seen the video of the Delta Force practicing on the mock-up of the presidential palace or wherever the thug was staying. So I've been mainly focused in my piece. I agree with you that I think we should absolutely thank our troops and thank our intelligence professionals for an incredible exercise, an incredible job. I think it resets the entire conversation on Venezuela. I think it sets on the back foot the bad guys all over the world. I'll come back to that in a minute. But I think specifically for Venezuela, I think we owe a big debt to President Trump as well for having taken this action. I think that I actually think it was also interesting that he said, I'm going to use the current thug regime's actors to make sure that as opposed to saying we're going to try and install the democratically elected government of Edmundo Gonzalez and Maria Corina Machado. I think it was far better for them in the short to medium term to take on working with the existing government to the extent that they can. And I think for several reasons, we have leverage over them they have to work through us to process their dirty oil. They have very kind of impure oil.
It's actually tar.
It's basically tar. It's basically tar that has to be processed. And we seem to have one or two processing facilities that almost nobody else has to process their Venezuelan oil.
Well, interestingly, you have to first process it in Venezuela before you can even transport it.
It's so dirty and so gross, right? And so, but even still, I mean, they have the largest oily deposits in the world. They've got the largest deposits of oil in the world. They have the largest known reserves of gold in the world. And so as a result, they are, it's been an unstable place for many decades. There was a 40-year period where they had stable democracy and there was prosperity and stability. But prior to that, for 300 years, it was basically one strong man after another and was a strong man, And so, unfortunately, the last 25 years was, in essence, some sort of reversion to historical norms in Venezuela. So the 40-year democratic period, perhaps in some ways, was a parenthesis.
And they were quite prosperous during that period.
They were one of the most wealthiest countries in the Western Hemisphere, wealthier than Chile, for example. And there's a lot to admire about that period in Venezuelan history. Many Colombians during the 70s and 80s left Colombia and were staying in Venezuela. And during this time of problems in Venezuela, Colombia has returned the favor and has hosted 2+ million Venezuelans and has actually given them the equivalent of green cards and their ability to actually live and work in Colombia. So they've absorbed a big part of Venezuela has one of the largest forced migrant populations in the world, it's something like 8 million people. If you go to Brazil or Chile or Argentina or even Panama, you see Venezuelans all over the place because they've been forced to leave. So it's a terrible tragedy. They've exported drugs. They've been mobbed up with all sorts of terrible criminals and terrorist organizations, Hezbollah, and mobbed up with China and Russia and Iran. But they've also expelled some of their best people. Their technocratic elite all have largely left the country. They've been emptied out of their most capable people because it's become an unlivable place for many people.
Yeah, that's so. Where do you see the Trump administration's policy moving now towards Venezuela?
So President Trump has a lot of leverage. He, of course, has the military option. He tweeted today, we're talking on Friday morning, whatever it is, the January the 8th or the 9th, I guess it's January the 9th, Friday morning, January the 9th, he tweeted out this morning, or truthed out this morning, that about not taking a second military action in Venezuela, but he's got a number of military assets in the Caribbean. So he has that leverage. He has the leverage over the oil. And then he's got leverage specifically over the various thug actors in the regime. I won't name them all, but there's a half dozen sort of group of sort of villains out of a bad movie that kind of are the leadership of the current regime in Venezuela. That he's basically said, if you know what's good for you, you'll behave yourself because you don't want to have the same treatment that just happened to Maduro. So it has a way, I suspect, of focusing the mind.